Right team, welcome to the podcast. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the 50K per month solo coaching business model that you can run and scale without sales calls. Now for some context, in the last sort of 14, 16 months, I managed to scale my coaching business to some months, $90,000 per month, most months more around the sort of 70K month mark. And I've managed to do that with just a virtual assistant and a videographer slash editor helping me with content. But you can pretty much do this by yourself. You can get to 50K per month with no team and without sales calls. And in this video, in this podcast, I'm going to show you exactly the pricing and offer strategy that will work best for this approach, the lead generation, lead nurture and content plan, the fulfillment systems and ops, and then also the sales strategy and the DM process to make this all happen. So let's start with the pricing and offer strategy. Now, the first point I'm going to make here is that people who pay attention. So I really recommend that if you're going to scale a coaching business, you want to deliver a great service to your clients, but you also want to make a shitload of money in the process of doing so, you should charge high ticket. So what is high ticket? Well, in this day and age, I think it's anything that's sort of $2,000 plus as a front end offer. And then your back end offer, the thing that I really like to do and the thing that's been working great for me is having a no-brainer retainer, like a monthly recurring revenue back end offer. So someone might come in and pay $2,000 for the first 16 weeks or 6 months, whatever you want it to be. And then the back end offer, it goes down to like a retainer of $499 a month or something to that effect, okay? So the main point with the offer side of things is that you want to have one clear promise for one person solving one problem, and you want to charge high ticket on that front end, $2,000 plus, okay? Now, as long as you need to get the result, but not any longer, what does that mean? It means that the time frame of your program should be as long as it needs to be, but as short as you can make it. So currently my coaching program is 12 months long, but because I'm helping people build their entire businesses, sometimes from the ground up, it takes a lot of time, right? And for me to say that I can help somebody scale their business in 90 days is just completely unrealistic. So 12 months makes sense for my offer. But if you're in like the weight loss niche as an example, you can get somebody insane body transformation results in 16 weeks. And so your program, your front end program should be 16 weeks long. And then your back end offer, which you sell people into at the end of the 16 weeks, is your no-brainer retainer monthly recurring revenue offer. So that's the offer side. I am going to talk about something that I call a micro offer shortly when we come on to the sales side of things. But essentially, we're going to have one thing for one person, one problem, one promise, charging high ticket. Let's look at the lead generation, nurture, and content process. So if we think about your content as a funnel, we have the top of funnel, we have the middle of funnel, and the bottom of funnel. Now, at each stage of the funnel, we're trying to achieve different aims. At the top, we're trying to get attention, reach an engagement with new eyeballs. So we need to talk about topics that are slightly broader, that are more addressable to more people, and are going to get people to follow our page. Now, although we're going a little bit broader with the messaging here, okay, so like if I was in the weight loss niche, rather than me talking about my very specific expertise as it relates to getting people in shape, I might talk more broadly about GLP-1s, because everyone in the market is talking about GLP-1s right now, okay? That's going to garner a lot of attention. And then in the captions of that content, if I tell people to follow my page, I'm going to gain new leads and followers from my Instagram account every single day by doing that. So although it's broader, it still wants to be somewhat relevant to what you do in your business. It can't be completely off-piste. So you want to think about your ICP, your ideal client profile, in terms of buckets, okay? Think about your ideal client. How can we compartmentalize who they are as an individual in different buckets? So if you work with men over 40 who are high earners who want to get in shape, as an example, well, then the buckets are, you can talk about money and wealth because they are interested in that. You can talk about the challenges of being an older man. So maybe it's like fatherhood, marriage. You could talk about things like running a business. And then of course you can talk about all of the topics as it relates to health. And if you were to go viral in any of those areas, speaking in any of those areas, there's a good chance that the eyeballs and the attention that you pull into your page would have a proportion of people who are interested in your services as well. So that's what we're thinking about with the top of funnel content. Now, to get a little bit more tactical here, what I recommend with my guys is, if this is a big area of focus for you, if you need new leads for your business, if you need your social media pages to grow quite heavily, then this really should be like sort of 70% of your content each week. And what we have the guys doing is posting trial reels every single day, reacting to content, doing green screens, finding validated content ideas that have gone viral in their niche, and then piggybacking off the back of that. So that's how we do top of funnel. Now, middle of funnel, the goal that we're really trying to achieve here is to nurture our audience. We want to warm the audience up to you, your personal brand, your story, all of the things that you believe in, your worldviews. So middle of funnel content really lends itself to things like yapping, unedited, unscripted, long form content like this video that you're watching now. This is really going to nurture my audience. Bottom of funnel content is like your deep knowledge and expertise. It's your social proof, it's your client case studies, it's you demonstrating what you do in your business. And these should always come with a clear CTA, either to DM you a keyword, to book a call, to fill in an application form, whatever your sales process is going to be. And then essentially all we do from a lead generation perspective is we make content for our ideal client. We attach many chat automations to that content, which gets people to comment a keyword, which pushes them into our email list and our school communities as an optional extra. You don't need a school community. And then within that, we have what I call a micro indoctrination series, which is a 3 to 6 part mini series on YouTube that explains in detail who you are, who you help, how you help them. And throughout those videos, we have Easter eggs, we have CTAs that are directing people towards DMing you your keyword and applying to work with you. And then we'll go through the sales process, which we're about to come on to. So that is lead generation, nurturing content. So moving into the sales strategy and the DMs themselves, one of the things that I really like to do at the minute, and something that I'm favoring with my clients, is we open the doors for 5 days of the month. We open the doors for limited spaces, so it might be for 10 clients, and we sell with a document, okay? And the reason that we can sell with a document, and this is where we're getting away from sales calls as we spoke about at the beginning, is because we're going to be selling a micro offer. Now, a micro offer is essentially a condensed version of what you do in your core program. So if your core program is 16 weeks on the front end, your micro offer might be like a 14-day accelerator. And the key difference with a micro offer is that the barrier to entry from a pricing perspective is going to be about 50% of what you typically charge on a monthly basis for your core program. So it's a much lower price point, which gives you much less friction in terms of selling it, which means that you can just sell it with a really simple document. And then what we do is we deliver everything that we would to a normal one-on-one client in our core program for a short period of time. So it's long enough to show them how good you are at what you do, but not long enough for that client to get the full result and for them to still have a want, a need, and a desire to ascend and stay with you beyond the micro offer for your 16-week, your 6-month, or your 12-month program. And then what we basically do is we just send a really simple 4-minute personalized Loom video to each micro offer client halfway through the program. And we say, look, I would love to continue working with you. Here are your options. Do you want to stay? And we typically see about a 50 to 60% conversion rate from your micro offer into your core program. So this is a phenomenal way that you can scale your coaching business without sales calls, even if you don't have a huge amount of authority, even if you don't have the credibility right now, and even if you don't have a huge amount of social proof. Because the barrier to entry is so low, you can sell it quite easily with a document. And this comes back to the sentiment here. Strong marketing equals easy sales. The more we get this stuff right, the easier this stuff gets. If your marketing is terrible, if your content is terrible, if you're not adding value, you're not being consistent with nurturing your audience, then you're going to have a harder time selling without calls. So this really needs to be a strong point for you. And now let's talk about fulfillment systems and ops. Like, how do you actually deliver this thing so that you can scale to 50K a month without having to hire lots of team members, etc.? Well, the first thing that you need is a structured, fun curriculum. And this is the way that you can deliver your knowledge and your expertise to your clients at scale without having to teach it to them one-to-one on calls every single day. So if you really want to remove yourself from day-to-day operations as best as you can, then having a structured and fun curriculum that people actually want to complete is such a key part of this. Now, typically when you think about curriculums or courses or training libraries that people get access to when they join coaching programs or mentorships, they're usually like these pre-recorded hour and a half long Zoom calls. people asking bone questions that aren't relevant to you. You watch one video and you're like, that is dog shit. I'm never going through that again. It's unstructured, you can bounce around, you get pulled from pillar to post, and it's just not an enjoyable way to learn. So what we do is we drip feed content and we make sure that they are short, concise lessons that are actually enjoyable to watch for the client, so they want to complete the curriculum and so that they can download your knowledge into their own brains and actually get the result that they came for. The second thing that we deliver is what I call the one-to-one access stack. And this is basically giving your clients unlimited access to you, but you hold the keys as to what access they get and when. So they might reach out and say, hey, Ollie, I'm struggling with XYZ right now. And you might decide that that actually just requires a voice note back to help solve that solution. They might say, I'm struggling with XYZ, and you decide, actually, we need to get on a Zoom call, and we book in the Zoom call. But the key difference with this one-to-one access approach is that rather than fixing yourself in for a regular cadence of communication with a client, i.e. saying, we're going to have a call every week or a call every month, which really just limits your capacity quite quickly, you are holding the keys to what support you give and when you give it. And the really interesting thing is that on the client end, this actually feels like a more premium service, because you'll have a client who reaches out with an issue and you get it solved immediately with the right level of support that they need in that moment, rather than them having to wait for their monthly call that's 3 weeks away and the problem's been and gone, right? So it's actually a better way of delivering to your clients, but it makes your service infinitely more scalable. Then we give them group coaching sessions. So every single week is a good opportunity for you to jump on with your clients en masse, deliver value, answer questions, and it's just a way of you being able to support your clients to a higher degree. Then we do in-person days. These are becoming really, really important right now. So every quarter we'll do in-person mastermind events. These are so important because, in a world where everybody's working from home, using AI, connecting with human beings in the room is just such a huge value add to these coaching businesses. So I really recommend doing those. Giving them a bespoke roadmap / plan. They want to know what it is that they need to do specifically based on their situation. So you normally do this by having a Zoom consultation with the client, deciding what they need and creating a plan for them. Victor, so apps, software. Victor is an incredible AI app that I recommend every coach get. It lives in your Slack account. If you don't have a Slack account, just create a free one. It can live in the app, and it basically serves as an artificial intelligent agent or assistant. Okay, so rather than you getting a VA in the Philippines or anything like that, this thing can do all of your work for you, your admin work. It can make invoices for clients. It can send them to their emails. It can book out your calendar for you. It can do everything a normal VA can do, but it does it quicker, right? So Victor is a huge system upgrade that you can implement to help you scale to 50K a month without having to hire a team. And then also I really recommend using something like School for your curriculum, but also for this lead generation part of the process. And then finally Slack, you're probably going to need that if you do want to use Victor. And that is it. That is the playbook for you to hit 50K a month as a solo coaching business model without needing sales calls. Hopefully this has been useful. See you on the next one.